It's not about motivation. Winners need discipline. Wake up and win today. Discipline comes from within.
Boxing King Media in association with the Riyadh season. Mr. Dewey Cooper, it's a pleasure speaking to you out here. We're 2 days away from fight night. What are you feeling as in the sense of nerves, apprehension, etc., compared to Francis making his debut against Tyson? Is this different to that fight?
First of all, okay. I have no nerves, no apprehension. I had no nerves or any apprehension going into the Tyson Fury fight because I've been with Francis Ngannou since 2017. We did the impossible by him defending his UFC heavyweight belt on one leg. He blew his knee out 3 weeks before the fight and still won the fight. So I was nervous for that fight against Cyril Gunn. I haven't been nervous ever since because he really did something amazing that night. On one leg, beat a guy who's ex-sparring partner from his ex-team that got him started. He went through all those obstacles and won. I know he can do anything.
That's interesting, that. And then with regards to the Fury fight and compared to this, and what do you think, Francis, what's the biggest learning point you took from that fight? Yourself and Francis as a team together against Tyson, making that boxing debut.
Well, that our confidence wasn't false pride or false confidence. We knew he could beat Tyson Fury. We told the whole world before the fight. We told the world he was going to knock him down and all of that. And everything played out exactly like we thought, except for 2 judges not going the same direction the one judge did. But what we take from that fight, Francis gained a lot of knowledge. Fighting Tyson Fury for 30 minutes, 10 different rounds, are irreplaceable knowledge and irreplaceable data that Francis can now assimilate and calculate in his brain and make him a better fighter. The fight IQ is better, the weapons are better, the skill sets are better, and that's what it's going to take to defeat Anthony Joshua on March 8th.
One of the biggest things I picked up and a lot of boxing experts were talking about was Francis's patience. Like, whilst Tyson was trying to feint him, set traps, Francis kind of just walked forward and he just didn't do anything. It's almost like he was just waiting for him to do something. Was that like a plan, or is that just come naturally to him?
Well, we just want him to be sharp and relaxed. And the reason why, it was his first fight. And you've been in boxing a long time. For any man to have his first boxing fight ever and it be a 10-round fight against the best heavyweight in the world is an incredible task to ask. So we want to make sure Francis didn't burn out. A lot of you guys in the media thought he would gas out after 2 or 3 rounds. So the patience and all of that was part of the game plan of him not doing too much and going down the stretch, because we knew Tyson Fury was very durable, that it would probably go down the stretch, that he would have some gas in the tank left over.
Interesting. And with regards to the shot that took Tyson down, the left hook, I spoke to a lot of experts in the build-up to this fight, and they all say that their opinion is that Anthony Joshua is susceptible to that left hook, because obviously the Andy Ruiz fight and Dillian White, the only 2 examples in a long career. So do you take much from that, or is that just 2 shots in thousands of punches that have come his way that have landed and people are making a big issue out of it?
People are making a big issue in the Ruiz fight. He had dropped Andy Ruiz. He went to finish him and got careless. Right hand was a bit too low. He underestimated Ruiz's huevos, and Ruiz was gonna, go down swinging. He lands a left hook, history changes. People really forget Joshua was winning that fight and had already knocked Ruiz down. He got careless going to close it out, and the history was it. So we watched the fights. We made our opinions about that. The thing about Francis, I feel he hits harder than Ruiz or any of these other guys. So yeah, any punch lands clean or land on the spot, we should see a adverse reaction from Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, the fascinating thing about this is, you as a coach, on the boxing debut side of things, you went up against Sugar Hill, and in your second fight with Francis, you're going to go up against Ben Davison. I spoke to Ben a while ago, and one of the things he said to me was a big plus in Francis's team is yourself, because he said he met you a a good few years ago in Vegas, and he only had good things to say about you and your boxing knowledge and how you understand the sport. So I think that's quite commendable and fascinating to know. I don't know if you could tell us about that conversation you guys had.
No, it's just gentlemen's talk. I respect everyone. I'm a martial artist. I'm a professional kickboxer and professional boxer, but I'm a martial artist. Every man deserves common courtesy and respect unless they treat you differently. So when I met Ben, it was awesome. Just a basic, friendly conversation, nothing too extensive. I appreciate him respecting me, and I appreciate your kind words, but it's not about me or the coaches. It's about two fighters. Hopefully, we have a small imprint on our fighters and make them better in some way. But in this fight, and like many fights, it's about the man that shows up and the two guys lacing those gloves up and the two guys dropping power on each other. And that's what's so compelling about this fight. You got two power punchers, two big, strong, behemoth men in the ring. How many heavyweight fights have we seen where both guys look the way these guys look? It's been a long time. Aesthetically, it's going to look pleasing the way heavyweight boxing are supposed to look. And more importantly than just the physical appearance, there's going to be some real leather being exchanged. And I see us on the advantageous end of that conversation.
I definitely agree with you there. Aesthetically, very good looking men. With regards to the way Ben Davison and his partner in crime Lee Wiley work together, I'm sure you've looked into the way they work as a team, and film study is big. It's well documented that they'll break down fighters, and they've now got film study of Francis. How do you counteract that as a coach?
Well, I've been a fan of Anthony Joshua. First of all, let me backtrack. My two favorite boxers in the history of boxing, my personal two favorite, are Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield. And saying that, I've always enjoyed watching the British boxers. I love Joe Calzaghe also. So the love I have for Lennox Lewis is what made me automatically have an embrace or a pleasure for Anthony Joshua. I watched them coming out of the amateurs, and I watched him as a pro. I watched them win the title. I watched the Klitschko fights. I watched all his fights before we ever thought about fighting him. I actually met him way back when he came to the Mayweather gym, maybe 2019 or something, 2020. Just a quick hello, kept it moving. So I know how Joshua fights just from watching him all these years. Like I said, he gets the benefit of me loving Lennox Lewis so much, and I enjoy him as a fighter as well. So, of course, I've studied the film before I actually studied the film because I watched all of his fights. Me and my daughter Shaolin would watch Anthony Joshua, you know what I mean? So I feel very familiar with him. And of course, now that the fight was signed, I studied film really deliberately and really studiously, the same as Ben and his team over there. The film means a lot, of course. We studied it, and I feel we're astute. I know they're astute, so it's gonna come down to the two men at the end of the day. We know Joshua's characteristics, loves that little, puts the weight on the back foot, prods with the jab, looks to hit that pull counter. We call it a drop step in America. Not sure what you guys call it in the UK and out here. But we know his characteristics as well. And like you said, they have a film now to study on Francis. So we'll see what works out. I think the coaches are going to be a small part of this. It's going to come down to the fighters. Who's tougher, who's stronger, who has the intestinal fortitude, who can get through dark times and still come out on the other side where the light is at the end of that tunnel. That's who's going to win this fight.
That's a beautiful breakdown there. With regards to the challenge you had against Tyson Fury, obviously we've seen the change in shape he's had since. Obviously the Ngannou fight has lost a lot of weight. It looks slimmer and trimmer. What do you make of that? Do you think that was the best Tyson Fury you got on that night?
Tyson Fury has won world titles looking worse than what he looked against Francis Ngannou. So people want to make that the narrative. He was the best he could be that night. That's just the fact of the matter. It's good that maybe he wasn't happy with his performance, so he's reinvigorated and remotivated to do better. But it's not like he was sloppy for our fight and never looked like that in previous fights. And he's beat some of the best fighters in the world looking out of shape. just because the physical appearance looks some way, he's the exact proof of that. Doesn't mean it is that way. He trained. Joseph Parker said he trained. He said he trained. Those guys aren't liars. He trained. Maybe mentally he underestimated Francis, but even if you underestimate someone psychologically, it's not a 4-round fight. 4-round fights are dangerous. You lose 2 rounds, you could lose the fight. This happened to be a 10-round fight. You have enough time to kick in that alter ego and make it happen. So all I can say, I think he was at the best he could be that day. Hopefully he's remotivated, reinvigorated, and he'll be better in the Usyk fight.
Do you make much of the fact that he never made any excuses, like you would have seen in the post fight interviews? And I spoke to him the next day, and he said I had a great camp. I did a solid 12 weeks, and he had a black eye, like he wasn't afraid to. Because I remember interviewing him, and he had some sunglasses on his t-shirt. I asked him if he wanted to put them on, because I know boxers sometimes don't want to show black eyes, and he was like, I don't care, I'll keep it on. So what do you make of him as a person and as a fighter, basically not using any excuses and just saying yeah?
You got to respect it. I definitely respect it. There's no disrespect, hatred, or animosity towards him or his father or his team. I just see Tommy Fury. He said hello to me. I said hello to him. Just yesterday, John Fury sat right next to us and struck up a conversation with us at the Grand Arrivals. Oh, sorry, at the media workout that was. You got to respect the man for being a man. And I'm glad he didn't try to discount it, even though he didn't, but the media definitely has. But we'll take that on the chin, and we'll see if Francis will show him on March 8th in a few days away.
So last thing I want to ask you, I know you don't know about it because you wasn't there, but what do you make of TYSON and Ngannou coming face to face last night at His Excellency's house, where I think TYSON had a few words to say to him about calling him a yellow belly or something along them lines? Does that distract you, by the way, a couple of days before?
No. Well, it's no distraction because we're fighting Anthony Joshua, not Tyson Fury. I'm sure that's an uncomfortable moment where you almost maybe have a street fight as being a guest in someone's home. One thing, I haven't heard Francis say anything like that. Francis isn't some cocky, just conversation talking disrespect towards people type of guy. So I'm not sure where you heard that information from. That's normally not Francis' character. So hopefully it was some kind of misconstrued situation and nothing comes from it. But the good thing is, Your Excellency, Turki Al-Sheikh already said the winner out of Joshua Ngannou faces the winner out of Usyk Fury. Instead of fighting at his residence, let's see Francis beat Joshua, he beat Usyk, and they do a rematch for all the heavyweight championship unified belts, and he could speak his piece then. We'll keep it in the ring, and hopefully everyone will leave healthy and happy.
The maddest thing is, if it goes your way, if Ngannou wins, and then if he fights the winner of Fury Usyk and he beats the winner, in the space of 3 or 4 fights, you could be the 3 fights. You could be the trainer of somebody who's going to be recognised as one of the greatest of all time combat sports athletes.
Yes, well, we already conquered one huge mountain by winning the UFC heavyweight title in mixed martial arts. Now it's boxing time. He showed his abilities on October 28th, 2023, here, same place. Lightning's going to strike twice again, October 8th, 2 days away, here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I'm looking forward to it. Francis will show his abilities. And one thing about him, he's a man that knows he can. And that's what we expect on March 8th.
There's one thing I want to ask you before I let you go. Away from boxing, you've spent a lot of time with Francis over the last few years, and everyone talks about his story, backstory, etc. You must have exchanged loads of stories with each other. He must have told you about certain moments. Is there anything you could share with us that's probably not out there that he might have told you about a certain moment? I know you told me the other day about when he went through the Sahara Desert. He did it in a car, and he was dehydrated because they didn't have enough water, and then they were drinking from animals, etc. Anything you could share with us?
I mean, just imagine being trapped in the Sahara Desert and not know if you're gonna die of starvation or dehydration. Worse than that, going to prison, being locked up in jail, and when you get out, you still have the desire to try to get out of your country, get to a better situation. Not emailing a coach in France saying, hey, I'm coming through. going to a place where you've never been before, where you have no friends before, and just living in a park homeless just because you have a deep desire to accomplish something that seems almost impossible to accomplish. Francis, man, he's a special guy. And please don't underestimate how important that is in a fight of this magnitude with the least amount of experience he has. I expect the component inside him, the intangible that we can't measure by a boxing matrix, is what's going to make him win this fight. That same unrelenting, dying spirit that pushed him to leave Cameroon and get to the level he's at right now, man. It's a crazy story, and I don't think it'll ever be repeated again. And I'm just happy to be a part of it. And 2 days away, I can't say it enough. Francis Ngannou will take his victory, no matter what course it takes.
Mr. Dewey Cooper, it's been a pleasure speaking to you for the first time, and genuinely thank you for your time, and I wish you and your guy all the best. May the best man win.
One last thing.
Go on.
I'm the most blessed guy in the world. On March 8th, Francis fights Anthony Joshua. 3 weeks later, I have a company, Team Combat League. I'm wearing the shirt right here. Team Combat League. We start season 2 on March 28th. 3 weeks later, the month of March is going to be great. Francis Ngannou fights Anthony Joshua. Three weeks later, Team Combat League starts. Guys, we have the most exciting professional boxing format ever. 24 pro boxers on each team. They fight 1 round each. Every round is a new fight. It's scored like regular boxing. At the end of 24 rounds, the team with the most points win. We have the most exciting format that boxing you'll ever see. If you don't believe me, go to Team Combat League YouTube channel, click on any fight from season 1, and you'll be hooked.
Well, we've streamed some of them as well on Boxing King Media, so check our channel. There's loads of live feeds on there from Team Combat League. Great sport, like you said. Thank you.
Well, hopefully you'll do more with us, sir. And thank you for having me, man. Blessed time, Saudi Arabia. Inshallah. Let's go.
Thank you very much, Dewey.
Listen, I got a question for you. Where can discipline take you? Discipline points you toward your goals.